بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم لا سهلا إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. ربي زدني علما. اللهم انفعني بما علمتني وعلمني ما ينفعني. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. We start with the name of Allah. We ask that He makes learning the Quran easy. We ask that He increases us in our knowledge, and we ask that the knowledge He grants us is beneficial, useful knowledge. And we ask that He accepts our small efforts that we are making. Ameen. Yesterday, we covered the first of the stretch letters. I mentioned that there are three types. And yesterday, we went through the fatha before alif. So we mentioned that the fatha before alif is basically just a stretched fatha. So whenever we see a fatha and it's before an alif, then you're going to stretch that fatha. For example, this ba over here is a fatha, but it's before an alif, so it's going to be stretched and it will be read ba. We also mentioned that the heavy letters will keep their heavy quality. So if you're going to stretch the kha, then you're going to read kha, kha, and that will be the same for every stretch letter, for every heavy letter, sorry. We mentioned that the ra, when it has the fatha, even if it's a fatha before alif, will still be heavy. So this will still be ra, like that. We also mentioned that the way to indicate a stretch letter is with a little line underneath. So whenever you find a stretch letter in your practice, you have to mark it with a little line underneath. And we went through the various markings we now know. Heavy letters, a circle, joinings like this. Then the qalqala is a little Q underneath. And now the stretch letter is a little line underneath the letters. So these are the things to look out for whenever you practice before you attempt any word. This is the way we're going to mark it. And we mentioned one more thing, and it was with one of the brothers who was practicing one of the words. When we got to the end of the lesson, I think it was this word. We saw this wow over here. And this waw has a fatha, and it is technically, it looks like it's before an alif, a fatha before an alif. So it does look like this waw would be stretched. But if you look carefully, there is a hamza on top of the alif, right there. So technically now the hamza will take precedence over the alif, and we will no longer consider this a fatha before alif. It's now a fatha before hamza. Fatha before hamza. So for this reason, this waw will not be stretched. But the stretched letter in this word is this ha. The alif is just stuck on the end of it like that. So we mentioned also as well, the fatha before alif can appear like this. So if you see a standing fatha on top of a letter, then it is also considered it will be read like a fatha before alif. So it can appear like that. So we did go through quite a lot yesterday. Mentioned a few things. So alhamdulillah. Unfortunately, I did again. Once again, I apologize to everyone. Unfortunately, I was really quite busy today as well, so I did not get to listen to even yesterday's homeworks as well. So it's piling up for me. But inshallah, I will definitely go through them. If not tomorrow, my brothers, I will 100% go through everything on Friday, and you have my word on that. So my brothers, please don't think that I'm ignoring you guys, or I don't want anyone to feel bad that I'm not listening to their homework. Please make sure you are still practicing every day, and please make sure that you are still sending me the homeworks. I don't want anyone to not send me a homework because I haven't responded to a previous one. If I haven't responded to you, please still make sure that you still send me every single single homework every single day, because I will go through them all. And it's just sometimes I get busy during the week, but usually Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm a bit more free and I'm a bit more relaxed, so I have a bit more time to just go through everything. So inshallah, 100% definitely by Friday, I will have responded to everything, inshallah. So even if I don't respond tomorrow, or if I go through a few and not everyone, still make sure you send me the homeworks, and inshallah I will definitely get back to you by Friday. So that's just something I wanted to say as well. Now, the plan for today's lesson is, inshallah, we will go through the remaining two stretch letters, types of stretch letters. And then, inshallah, we'll maybe get some practice, and then I'll let you know what to do for homework. So this is basically an extension from yesterday's lesson. Yesterday, we mentioned that there were three types of stretch letters. We went through the first one. So today, inshallah, we will go through the remaining two. So the first of these is kasra before ya sakin. Okay, ya sakin. That's important. It's not kasra before ya. It's kasra before ya sakin. Okay. So if you want to write that down, write that down. You have to memorize all three of these. Okay. I want everyone to memorize all three of these. So if I ask you, what are the letters? You have to say fatha before alif, kasra before ya sakin, and then we'll learn the third one. So that's the second type of stretch letter, kasra before ya sakin. Now, what is kasra before ya sakin? Well, it's basically a kasra that comes before a ya sakin. Okay. Now, something to note is this particular script, this particular Arabic script, whenever there's sometimes whenever there's a tajweed rule involved, it will not show the sakin to indicate that there is a rule here, and you'll see it in a later lesson. But with just this particular Arabic script, they do not show the kasra before ya sakin. Whenever it's a kasra before ya sakin, they won't show the sakin on the ya, which is kind of ironic, but it is what it is just for this script. Now, when we come on to reading Quran, you will not need to worry about this. The script we will be using for practicing Quran will not be like this. It will be similar in terms of its style, like how it looks, but all of the sakins will be there. So I hope it doesn't confuse everyone, but just bear with it for this week and next week, and then inshallah in the last week when we go into Quran, it won't be an issue at all. It's just this particular type of script. It's supposed to help you get the rules and learn the rules, but we don't need these kind of aids, inshallah. Hopefully we'll just learn the rule and we'll be able to recognize it regardless of if the sakin is there or if it's not there. So the kasra before ya sakin, whenever we see a kasra before ya sakin, what it means is we are going to stretch kasra. So if you remember yesterday, we said that a fatha is just normally pronounced a, and a fatha before alif is pronounced a. Now we're going to do the same thing with the kasra before ya sakin. So if a kasra is just normal, e, then a kasra before ya sakin will be e, e. And again, you're going to, underline it just to indicate that it's being stretched. Okay. So this first hamza over here is a kasra before ya sakin. So we are going to stretch it. We are going to say e, e. This ba with the kasra is just b, and the ba with the kasra before ya sakin is b, b, b. We are just simply stretching the kasra, just like we did with the fatha before alif yesterday. The ta with the kasra before ya sakin is t, t, t. Now the tha kasra before ya sakin is the, the. You have to keep all of the makharij the same, ba, ta, tha, and everything else as well. The only thing you're doing is just stretching the length of the kasra. So how's everyone feeling at the moment? I know I might have gone a little bit quick, but that's just because it's an extension from yesterday. But a 1 if you're feeling okay at the moment, and a 5 if you just have a question, or if you're not sure about something, please do ask. Particularly about this script. If you have worries about this script, then just let me know, inshallah. The main thing is, just whenever it's a kasra before ya sakin, or as you'll see as well, whenever it's a dhamma before waw sakin, they won't show the sakin. So it's supposed to help you. But when we come on to Quran, it won't be an issue. So don't worry about it too much, inshallah. Okay, alhamdulillah. So what we'll do is we'll just go through these letters, inshallah. Then maybe we'll do a few words, and then we'll go do the third one, inshallah, the third stretch letter. So, and again, if anyone has any questions at all during the lesson, just feel free to interrupt and ask. So the Jim is going to be G, G, G. The Ha, kasra bi fa sakin, is He, He, He. The Kha, kasra bi fa sakin. Now, this is still heavy, but we mentioned that 3 of the 7 heavy letters, the Kha, Ain, and the Qaf, we mentioned very, very quite a long time ago when we were going through the vowels, that we mentioned when there's a kasra on any of these letters, then they lose their roundness. So we consider them to be heavy, but we will not make it round. You know, that roundness of the letter. Whenever these 3 letters have the kasra on, they lose their roundness. Okay, so the kha will be khi, khi, khi. So you won't say khi, khi. You won't make it round. You're just going to keep it like a normal kasra. Khi, but it is still considered a heavy letter. Brother Shahriya, you got a question?
Sorry, yeah, I had a question if that's okay. I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask if there's any other heavy letters that lose their roundness with any other type of like kasra or like fatha or anything like that, or is it
No.
just those 3?
No, so it's just going to be these 3 from the 7 heavy letters. The Ra we'll get to, inshallah. But from the 7 heavy letters, it's just these 3, and only when it's kasra. So Fatha, Dhamma is still going to be normal. Yeah?
Okay, thank you, brother.
Jazakallah khair. So the Dal is going to be D, D, D. Sorry. The Dal, and again, this is going to be the tip of your tongue touching the tip of the top 2 teeth. Okay, the top teeth, not the bottom teeth. And you want to avoid touching the top teeth. the, the, almost like you're saying the word kind of like a Shakespearean word, the, like that. So the. Now the Ra, we mentioned yesterday that when it's a fatha bifal alif, it's still heavy because Ra is always heavy whenever it's a fatha or a dhamma, and always light whenever it's a kasra. So this Ra will be light. So it's a kasra before ya sakin, but it's still going to be light. So Ri, Ri, Ri. Okay. Now moving on, the letter Za, kasra before ya sakin, Z, Z, Z. Get that buzzing sound, yeah? The letter Sin, when it's a kasra before ya sakin, it will be stretched. Si, Si, Si. The letter Shin, when it's a kasra before ya sakin, it's going to be Shi, Shi, Shi. Now we move on to the second heavy letter, the Sad. And now this one will keep its roundness. It will still be round. So this is going to be Sli, Sli, Sli. Now the way to do it is, again, just put lots of pressure on the bottom teeth. So with C, we put our tongue on the bottom teeth and we just let it go, C, like that. But with the Sad, to get the S sound, you have to put lots of pressure on the bottom teeth and raise the back end of your tongue. That's going to take practice, but when you're able to do that, that's how you're going to get the correct roundness. Sli. What you want to avoid is you want to avoid putting the W sound. So you don't want to say sui. You don't want to have any kind of W sound with the heavy letters, because that's incorrect. Make sure you're not saying sui, sui, because that's incorrect. You're putting like a wow sound into it, and that's wrong. So you don't want to do that. The way to get it is to raise the back end of your tongue. So, and put lots of pressure on. Sui, 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 like that. And again, with the practice, we're overemphasizing the sound, we're overemphasizing everything. When we read Quran, it's not going to be this strong, this heavy, but inshallah, we will still get the correct sound. The letter Dad, again, heavy letter, and it will still be round. You're going to put the side of your tongue on the side of the back teeth, put lots of pressure there, and it's going to sound like this. Bui, bui, bui. Now, it might sound like I'm saying like a ta, but the makhraj is different for dad. The makhraj is again the side of the tongue touching the side of the back teeth. It's not like ta, and it's also not like the. It's in between. It's kind of like it sounds similar to both, but it's different. It should be distinct. The letter ta. Again, lots of pressure on the makhraj, tip of the tongue between the gums and the top teeth. Tui, 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 tui. Okay, one moment. The letter dha. Again, you want to avoid that Z sound. No Z sound for the dha. You need to make sure your tongue is touching the top two teeth only the top two teeth. Put lots of pressure on those top two teeth and make the sound. It's going to be vli, vli, vli. And once again, you want to avoid that double E sound. Don't say vui, vui. You're putting that wow sound in. It's a very subtle difference. But inshallah, with practice, you'll be able to get it. The letter Ain from the middle of the throat is going to be Ri, Ri, Ri. The Ain sound again comes from the middle of the throat, similar to Ha, Hi, Ri. So again, if you struggle with Ain, just make sure you're practicing it. Inshallah, over time, it's something that you'll get it over time. You can't get it immediately. It's through constant practice and repetition. Eventually, you will get it, inshallah. The letter Ghain, heavy letter, but it's one of the three where it loses its roundness. So we still mark it as heavy, but we need to keep in mind that it won't be round. So we're going to say Ghi, Ghi, Ghi from the top of the throat. And again, make sure you're not saying Ghui, Ghui, like don't make it round. Keep it kind of flat. So Ghi, and from the top of the throat. The fa, when it's a kasra before ya sakin, it will be fi, fi, fi. The letter qaf, a heavy letter, and again it's the last of those three letters, kha, ghain, and qaf, that when they have the kasra on, it will not be round. So we won't say qui, we're going to say qi, qi, qi. Okay, so the sounds should come from the back end of the mouth, the back end of the mouth, not the throat. So, and keep it flat. So don't make it round. Qi. The letter kaf is going to be ki, ki, ki. The letter lam, li, li, li. The letter mim, mi, mi, mi. The letter nun, ni, ni, ni. The letter ha, and again this is the soft ha, so you have to keep it very, very soft. He, He. The letter waw, when it's a kasra before ya sakin, is we. And lastly, the letter ya, when it's a kasra before ya sakin, is ye. So those are all of the letters. The main thing to keep in mind is, well, first of all, with this particular script, when we're practicing, is the sakin actually won't be there. But when we come onto the Quran, the sakin will be there. So make sure that you're memorizing kasra before ya sakin. Okay. Also to keep in mind, the letter kha, ghain, and qaf will not be round, and the ra will still be light. The ra, when it's kasra before ya sakin, will be light because ra is always light whenever it's a kasra. Now, with regards to this sound, we mentioned yesterday that the fatha before alif can also appear like a standing fatha. Now, the kasra before ya sakin can appear like a standing kasra. It says here mini ya. So if we go on to just quickly one of the practice ones, we'll quickly find one, inshallah. Okay, over here on this one, mashallah, this is a good word for practice, inshallah. So here we have two kasra before ya sakin sounds. So if you look at this first one, the ya here does not have the sakin on. Okay, it should be there. When we come onto Quran, it will be there. But this kha will be stretched. Okay, and it's also heavy. So this kha will be stretched. But if we look closer, there's a ha over here with a standing kasra. So the kasra is underneath and it's kind of like standing up like this. So that means this ha will also be stretched. Okay, so we're going to stretch both this kha because it's a kasra before ya sakin. I'm just going to draw it in there. And we're also going to stretch the ha because it's a standing kasra. Okay, so the way we will practice this is, again, we're just going to take it one vowel at a time. So khifa, khifa, ti, khifati, he, khifatihi, khifatihi. Now, the main thing to remember again is the reason why we mark the stretch letters is not just to stretch them, but to avoid stretching the other ones. So we don't want to stretch the fa, we don't want to stretch the ta. So if someone reads khifatihi, then that's incorrect because you stretch the fa. Or if someone says khifatihi, then that's also incorrect because you stretch the ta. You want to avoid stretching the ones that are not marked. Okay. So that's just something to note. So the kasra before ya sakin can also look like a little standing kasra like that. So how's everyone feeling with this? Any questions at all? If you feel good, just a one. If you've got any questions, then do ask. Just want to gauge how everyone's feeling at the moment. Yeah, it is definitely getting a bit more complex, inshallah. So make sure that you are practicing every day, inshallah. But inshallah, with a lot of practice, you'll see a lot of results. And just a note that this course is intense. We go through a lot in this course. We go through so much in just a short amount of time. You know, in these 4 weeks, you basically go through what other people might do in a year or 2 years, even sometimes. So we're going through a lot in a short period of time. So you can't expect yourself to be perfect at everything immediately. Okay, because normally the way it would normally work is you learn something and then you practice it, practice it, and then until you've got it perfect, then you'll learn the next thing. But what we're doing is we're learning something, we're practicing a little bit, then we're moving on to the next thing, then we practice it a little bit, and as that time goes by, we are trying to just solidify everything in one go. But when we do that, then understandably there will be some parts that are weaker and some parts that are stronger. But the main thing to keep in mind is we're getting all of the theory in, and inshallah, you guys will have a foundation to build off of. You'll have a foundation of knowledge, um, and you'll be able to know which areas that you yourself need to practice. For example, with the letter pronunciations, you yourselves know which ones are weak, which ones are strong, so you know which ones to practice. With regards to the rules that we learn, it's going to be the same thing. There will be some rules that you just know it like that, and other rules you'll have to practice, inshallah. So don't worry if it is quite a lot. Inshallah, with practice you'll get it. Now we've got about half an hour left. So what I want to do is, instead of just practicing first, I want to go through the third one. And inshallah, once we've gone through that, then we'll be able to spend some time practicing. So that's the plan. So the third stretch letter is the dhamma before waw sakin. Now we've gone through fatha before alif. This is the stretch. The kasra before ya sakin. This is the e stretch. Now we are coming on to dhamma before waw sakin. Note again, it's sakin. It's not dhamma before waw. It's dhamma before waw sakin. So inshallah, we'll be going through this. So again, this is just the last of the stretch letters. It's just an extension from everything that we've done so far. So inshallah, it shouldn't be too difficult. If you understand the first two concepts, then this concept is just an extension of that. So inshallah, we'll be going through these. So once again, as I mentioned with the ones with the kasra before yasak, in this particular script, whenever there's a rule involved, uh, then they kind of remove the sakin. The sakin is removed from it. So here, the dhamma before wa sakin, it will be stretched. So they remove the sakin from it. But when we come onto Quran, the sakin will be there all the time. This is why I want everyone to memorize dhamma before waw sakin. So just with this particular script, and when you practice with this booklet, the sakin will not be there when it is stretched. But when we come onto Quran, it will be fine. So the dhamma before waw sakin will be stretched. The sound of the dhamma will be stretched. So normally the dhamma makes an oo sound. So if we look at this hamza over here, this is just simply oo. But when it's a dhamma before waw sakin, it's going to be oo, oo, oo. Okay. The letter ba normally is just boo. But when it's a dhamma before waw sakin, so if you look carefully how it's joined together with the waw, this will be boo, boo, boo. The sound of the dhamma is still the same. The sound of the letter ba is still the same. All you're doing is stretching the sound. The letter ta, when it's dhamma before waw sakin, is tu, tu, tu. The letter tha, when it's dhamma before waw sakin, is thu, thu, thu. The letter jim, ju, ju, ju. So how's everyone feeling at the moment with dhamma before waw sakin? One, if you're okay. Five, if you got any questions. Okay, alhamdulillah. So we'll go through the rest of these, inshallah, then we'll get some practicing. So the letter ha from the middle of the throat. Hu, hu, hu. Okay, you have to still keep that ha sound. The letter kha will be heavy and stretched. It's going to be khu, khu, khu. Sound from the top of the throat, yeah? The letter dal, do, do, do. The letter dal, once again, avoid that Z sound, only touch the top teeth. Dhu, dhu, dhu. Now the letter ra, we mentioned that when it's a fatha, it's heavy. When it's a kasra, it's light. So when it's a dhamma, it's going to be heavy again. So this is why the ra is not considered a heavy letter. Sometimes it's heavy, sometimes it's light. It depends what the vowel is. So same thing happens when it's a dhamma before waw sakin. The ra will be heavy. So this is going to be ru, ru, ru. Okay. The letter za, zu, zu, zu. The letter sin, su, su, su. The letter shin, shu, shu, shu. The letter sad, again, heavy letter, make it round. Lots of pressure on the bottom teeth. Su, su, su. The letter dad, heavy letter again. Side of the tongue touching the side of the back teeth. Bu, bu, bu. The more you practice these difficult letters, the more your mouth, the more your throat, and the more you get used to reading them. That's why it's very, very important to practice just the letters by themselves, especially if it's something new to you. Even if you can pronounce it correctly, but you're doing it with difficulty, then it's still important to practice it. That way you build that muscle memory, kind of. You get used to putting your tongue in particular places, or making your throat make a particular sound, things like that. You get used to doing those things, and it becomes second nature to just do it. So that way, when you come to Quran, it's going to be very, very natural, very, very easy to just read it, and you won't think so much about how to pronounce the letter. You'll just pronounce it. That's why it's really, really important to spend a lot of time practicing just the letters by itself, because that way you're just going to speed up the learning process, inshallah. So if you are struggling with letters, please do make sure that you spend time practicing those letters, because that's the fastest way to learn it, is just constant practice. There's no quick way. So even if it's a letter that you can do, but you're doing it with difficulty, you're struggling, then still do make sure you practice that letter. The letter ta, heavy letter, and when it's stretched, it's going to be tu, tu, tu. The letter dha, once again, avoid that Z sound, only touch the top teeth. Vu, vu, vu. The letter ain, from the middle of the throat. Ru, ru, ru. Okay. The letter ghain, same makhraj as kha, from the top of the throat, and it's heavy. Ghu, ghu, ghu. The letter fa, fu, Foo. Foo. The letter qaf, heavy letter, and when it's stretched, it's going to be qoo. 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 The letter kaf, koo. Koo. The letter lam, loo. Loo. The letter mim, moo. Moo. The letter noon, noo. Noo. The letter ha, once again, nice and soft, hoo. 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 The letter waw, woo. 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 A lot of people might say ooh over here. They might say ooh. They might make it like a alif or a hamza instead of a waw. What you want to do is make sure that you're saying wow with the initial sound. You want to say woo. Woo. The first sound has to be with the waw. And lastly, the letter ya when it's a dhamma before waw sakin. You. 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 So I know I might have gone a little bit quick there, but again, the main thing is if your letter pronunciations with just a dhamma is fine, then being able to do this shouldn't be an issue. But if you have difficulty reading any of these letters with a dhamma, then you'll have difficulty doing it with dhamma before waw sakin. That's why spend as much time practicing any letters you have difficulty with. Does anyone have any questions at the moment with regards to anything at all that we've gone so far? Kasra before ya sakin, dhamma before waw sakin, anything to do with pronunciation, anything at all. If you got a question, just ask. If you're okay, just a one. Okay. Okay, so with regards to the dhamma before waw sakin, it can also appear like an upside down dhamma. So you might see, so with the fatha before alif, it was a standing fatha. With the kasra before ya sakin, it was like a standing kasra. And now with the dhamma before waw sakin, it's kind of like an upside down dhamma. It says mini wow over here. It's kind of like a mini wow, but you can consider it either like a sideways 6 or an upside down dhamma, whatever floats your boat. But it's kind of, it looks like this, and it will be on top of the letter. So inshallah, what I'll do is I'll just look through an example of how it will look inside a word, this upside down dhamma. So let me just try and find one. So as you can see, it's not very, very common, but it will appear sometimes. Okay, over here. So if you look over here on this word, here we have actually two stretched letters. We have a fatha before alif. This dal will be stretched. But now if you look at this waw, it's got an upside down dhamma. So what that means is basically it will make the same noise as a dhamma before waw sakin. So you're going to stretch that dhamma sound. So this will be da woo, da woo, do, da woo, do, da woo, do, da woo, do. Okay, so that's how it can appear inside a word. You might see it like an upside down dhamma. So if anyone's got any questions, just feel free to ask. What we'll do now, yes, brother.
Just a quick one. Is there a other reason for having you upside down?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think that's just
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know.
Okay. Otherwise, why can't they keep it the normal way? I mean, I don't know. I'm just
Well,
asking.
if they kept it normal way, then you'll just get confused with the regular dhamma.
Okay.
For example, if you look at that word that we just looked at,
Yeah.
this do also just has a dhamma over here, and so if it look like
Okay.
just a regular dhamma, then you people will just get confused and they'll just read it short. So I think it's
Okay.
just upside down just to indicate that you got to keep it
Okay.
long.
Okay. Oh,
Um,
thank you. Just very rare, though. Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
Okay. Is it just rare occasionally, but not that often?
I don't know how rare it is, but I think just in this practice it might be rare, but it's just something to note. So just keep it in mind that alongside the standing fatha and the standing kasra, that the upside down dhamma can appear, and
Yeah.
the sound it will make is the same sound as a dhamma before waw sakin. It will just be an elongated dhamma. So
Okay.
inshallah, just keep that in mind, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the other thing I normally struggle with is because I'm not familiar with getting the tongue in the right places quickly enough. So there's
Yeah.
a pause, and I have to think about it before I say the next letter. I
Yeah.
assume is that just practice then?
Yeah, so inshallah, just with so what you mentioned there, the best way to fix that is just practice, inshallah. Practice the letters by themselves, and then practice, the various vowels and things like that, and then through that practice, you'll get more used to making the correct sounds, inshallah. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Okay, so we've got about 13 minutes left. So what we can do is some practice, inshallah. So what I'll do is I'll go through a few words, and then inshallah, maybe I'll call a few people on. So I'll do one from the kasra before ya sakin, and then I'll do one from the dhamma before waw sakin. So again, you have to keep in mind that this script isn't the best. I personally don't think it's great, just because the sakin itself is actually sometimes just missing. So I'm not a fan of that, but don't worry too much, inshallah.
Yes. Sorry, brother. What page is that? I'm trying to make notes myself on notes.
So
I've got printed
this
copies.
page is 38.
38. Okay. Thank you.
So if we just look at this word, I'll just read it. So this, we have to again just go through the steps. So mark heavy letters, joinings, any qalqalas, and any stretch letters now. So right now, no heavy letters, nothing really joined. The stretch letter here is this hamza. This hamza is a kasra before ya sakin. This lam has a standing fatha on it, so this lam will be stretched, and we can begin. So this is going to be li, e, li, e, la, li, e, la, fi, li, e, la, fi, li, e, la, fi. Okay. So that's just one example. Let's see who's got their hands up who would like to. Anyone would like to read? Brother Amman.
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. Try doing. Do this one over here. So just talk me through the steps.
There's no heavy letters. There's no stretching. There's two joining.
So where are
There's
the
two
joinings?
joining. So Z and kum.
Okay. So Z is joined and kum is joined. So if this is joined, it's technically a kasra before ya sakin. So this would be stretched.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this here would be stretched, yeah, because it's a kasra before ya sakin. So begin.
Right. Z, zina, ta, zinata, kum, zinatakum.
MashaAllah, fantastic, very, very good. Try doing this one over here.
There's no heavy letters. There's a ya kasra. What do you call it? With the she.
Kasra before ya sakin.
Yeah. That. And there's a stretchy letter. B. Yeah. All right. So she. Shi'ati. Shi'ati. He. Shi'atihi.
So you kind of have to stretch the sheen a little bit more. So
shi'atihi.
good. Make sure you avoid stretching the ain or the ta. So shi'atihi.
Shi'atihi.
MashaAllah, fantastic. Jazakallah khair, brother. Let's see who else. Brother Said.
Yep.
Try doing this one over here.
Okay. Heavy letters is the sod is heavy. Anything else? Okay. The joining, that's joining. Okay. The next one's joining the sod and the ya. Okay. Now the stretch letters. Let me just go through my notes. Nope. The kasra before ya. Yep. The sod and the ya is a stretch.
Now this kha here is also heavy. Just something you missed out.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. By the way, you know, the first two letters, I find them difficult to recognize because I'm not used to that script.
I see. Okay. So this is a meme and this is a kha.
Oh, it's a meme. Okay. Boch, li, si, na, na.
MashaAllah, fantastic. Very, very good. Try doing this one.
Okay, that's a meme. Okay, the thought is a heavy.
Yep.
Okay, the joining one, the dot and the ya joins, and the first two join as well. And the dot and the ya is mad stretch.
Yep.
Let's see anything else. That's it. Okay. Mo e.
So again.
Mo e. Mo e.
So that's a ra over here. So it's mu'ri. Yeah.
Okay. Mo ri. Mo ri. Di. Mo ri di. Na. Mo ri di na.
MashaAllah, fantastic. Just I noticed that the ain was not pronounced correctly. So inshallah, when you practice that ain. And when you do your words, put a little star underneath whenever an ain comes up, inshallah. It needs to be more from the middle of the throat. So try and say more like that.
Okay,
yeah. Yeah, try it.
More.
Inshallah, with practice, inshallah, it'll improve over time. Yeah. It's going to be a slow improvement. You can't expect it to be, straight away again. But don't worry, inshallah, with practice, you will definitely get it. Yeah. Jazakallah khair. We'll try one from the.
Can I ask you something?
Yes, brother.
You know that question that you asked that brother there, what was it? The ain.
Yep.
Can I just say if I'm saying it right, the ain right?
Try it.
Mu'a. Is that right?
Yep. MashaAllah.
Okay, thank you.
We'll try one from here, inshallah. Okay. Brother Jeffrey, your hand's been up for a while.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Try. This one's going to be a tricky one.
Okay. Okay, and there are no heavy letters,
Good.
and joining letter is tub, joining letter tub, and stretch letter is su, and that's it. And one minute, then what do you call kalkala? Kalkala is b.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Tub.
Yep.
Tub a. Tub asu. Na. Tub asu na. Tub asu na.
So what I want you to do is try say again, but get so when you say after you say tub, just say the ain by itself.
Yeah.
So say a.
Tub
Now say,
asu na.
so repeat after me.
A.
So tub
Tub
a.
a.
Tub a.
Tub a.
Su.
Su.
Tub
Su.
tub asu.
Tub asu.
Na.
Na.
Tub asuna.
Tub asuna.
MashaAllah. So when we're doing it,
Asuna.
we want to make sure that we do each individual part by itself whenever we come to it before we join it with the entire thing. So each of these three things, you'll do it by themselves first. Also, the ayn was not very clear, so inshallah, make sure you mark all of your ayns with the little star too as well whenever you practice, inshallah. Yeah. Jazakallah khair, brother.
No problem.
Brother Adam.
Yes, hello.
Assalamu alaikum, Adam. Are you okay?
Yes, wa alaikum salam.
Okay, let's pick a nice difficult one for you, my brother. Try doing this one over here. Now, before you start, I want you to mark down all of the rules that you can see. So these are heavy letters, anything joined, if there's any stretch letters, things like that, yeah, and qalqalas. So see if you can find any of what are these, yeah?
Noon's empty mouth.
Yep.
Sad is full mouth.
Yep.
Ha is empty mouth.
Yep.
Wow is empty mouth.
Yep.
Noon is empty mouth.
Fantastic. Any stretch letters?
Stretch, yeah, noon and another noon. And also
This one here?
Yeah.
So this noon,
No,
why will you stretch it?
No, that's not stretched. I mean the ha.
The ha, fantastic.
Yes.
And I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So begin.
Okay. Nasihuna.
So now when I want you to read it, I want you to do each individual part by itself and then put it together. So repeat after me. Na.
Na.
Si.
Si.
Na. Si.
Na. Si.
Now on the ha, make it really strong from the middle of the throat. Hu.
Hu.
Nasihu.
Nasihu.
Na.
Na.
Nasihuna.
Nasihuna.
MashaAllah, fantastic, brother. Jazakallah khair. I think the has, you might need to spend a bit of time practicing them, inshallah, yeah? So just keep that in mind, my brother. But fantastic, that was really, really good.
Jazakallah.
Wa iyyakum. Okay, so alhamdulillah, that's this lesson. We've got 5 minutes left, so I'm just gonna do a quick recap over everything, inshallah, and then I'll let you know what the homework is. So over the last 2 lessons, we've learned the 3 stretch letters. We've gone over fatha before alif, kasra before ya sakin, dhamma before waw sakin. I will ask that everyone memorize these three phrases. It's going to help you to just get it in your mind. So make sure you memorize it exactly as it is. Don't do it like in your own words. This is the simplest way to kind of just get it. Fatha before alif, kasra before ya sakin, dhamma before waw sakin. Make sure you put the sakin on the bottom too. Don't say kasra before ya. Kasra before ya is incorrect because there'll be plenty of kasras before yas, but you don't stretch them. It's only when it's kasra before ya sakin. Next, each of these can appear in a different way. So the fatha before alif can be a little stunning fatha. Kasra before ya sakin can be a little stunning kasra, and the dhamma before waw sakin can be a little upside down dhamma. The way we mark each of these when we practice is with a little line underneath. So make sure that you are doing that whenever you practice. Okay. And the line, what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to help you to not just stretch that letter, but avoid stretching the other letters. That's the main problem, and it's a very, very, very common problem when people start reading Quran and practicing, is they'll stretch the stretch letters, but they will also stretch the non-stretch letters, and that's what we are trying to avoid here. The main thing, do not stretch the other letters when you're reading these, because that's when you're going to encounter problems, inshallah. So inshallah, try to avoid that. Homework. I know I haven't gotten back to whoever has sent me homework today as well. That's just, I've been quite busy. Inshallah, if not tomorrow, by Friday, by the end of Friday, I will have responded to every single person who has sent me homework, inshallah. And that's my word. So whoever sends me homework before Friday, I will respond to it and I'll give you my feedback, inshallah. So if I haven't responded to you yet, please do make sure you send me again. It's I'm not ignoring you, and it's not a burden for me. I'm happy to do it, but I want you guys to make sure that you do send it. It's just I need to just find the time, that's all. So make sure that if I haven't responded, don't feel bad. Just make sure that you do send it again, and I will definitely respond to you by Friday, inshallah. I want to make sure that I know in the class who's making progress, how everyone is progressing. And through the homeworks, it's not just that for you guys to get feedback from me, but it's for me, it's a way for me to gauge how well the class is learning. If I need to go over something again, like from the homeworks, I can tell if there's a gap in the knowledge in the class. So make sure that you do send me the homework, even if you feel like it's not perfect, because if it's not perfect, if multiple people have the same problem, I can address it in the next class, inshallah. So do make sure you do send it the homework. And the homework is just going to be practicing the words from page 38 up until, there's quite a lot. You got quite a lot of practice, actually, alhamdulillah. Up to page 52, subhanallah. A lot of practice that you can do. So get as much practice as you can. Pick the letters that you have difficulty with, and inshallah, send me some voice notes with pictures, and I'll be able to see that, and then I'll respond. Also, ongoing homework every single day. Practice the letters you have difficulty with. So if you have difficulty with ayn, practice ayn. If you have difficulty with ha, practice ha. If you have difficulty with sad, practice sad every single day. Whichever letters you have difficulty with, spend 10-15 minutes on it, and you're going to see results, inshallah. So that's the end of this class, inshallah. I'll see everyone tomorrow. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask me, inshallah. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.